Kia ora, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock with news we seem to be not far from getting interest rate cuts from central banks in the US and Europe, and perhaps an unusual hike from Japan. Tomorrow we get the important February US non-farm payrolls report, and today there are more precursor updates. The number of people claiming unemployment benefits for the first time in the US was 213,000 last week, slightly more than the previous week, but that is down from 238,000 new claims in the same week a year ago. US-based employers announced plans to cut 84,500 jobs in February, the most in 11 months. And American export values were little change in January, marginally more than in December, but marginally less than in January 2023. Their goods and services deficit rose slightly in the month, but over the past year it is a massive 17% less than in the prior year. It has fallen from a manageable 3.5% of GDP to a much better 2.8% of GDP now. The New Zealand goods and services trade deficit is 4.1% of our GDP. And there was more Powell testimony to the US Congress today, this time to a Senate committee. And he agreed their next move is to cut rates, probably sometime this year. In Japan, worker earnings rose 2% in January from the same month a year ago, rising from a 1% gain in December and posting the highest reading in 7 months. That is triggering talk that a central bank rate hike may be in the offing there. It did that last 17 years ago. And China's exports surged higher in the January-February period they report at the start of the year. This is not only good news for them, but it also indicates global demand is rising, and probably by more than we might have otherwise assumed. And the Malaysian Central Bank kept its overnight policy rate at 3% in its latest monetary policy review. And as expected, the European Central Bank kept its main policy rate unchanged too at 4.5% in its overnight review. And it is keeping up its quantitative tightening program at the same pace. But they lowered their inflation forecasts and their growth forecasts and signalled they might cut rates in July. The US Treasury 10-year yield starts today at 4.12% and up 3 basis points from yesterday. And the price of gold will start today up another $11 at $2,156 an ounce, and another new record high. But oil prices are down $1 at just over $78.50 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is now just over $82.50 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar starts today at just on 61.7 US cents, and another overnight gain of 1/4 cent. Against the Aussie, we're still at 93.3 Australian cents. Against the euro, it firmed slightly to 56.4 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just on 70.5, up about 10 basis points. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again